Alright, the Flash trailer is out, and it looks, bad? I mean, it's hard to gauge because it's hard to gauge the quality of any movie from one trailer, unless that movie had been in development hell for almost a decade and had changed directors like 4 times and had been constantly retooled and rewritten to fit a universe that had no direction from the start and had already tried to internally reboot itself again like 4 times. See, if that was the case, then I'd be a little worried. Honestly, it feels weird to see a trailer for this movie at all because for the longest time, I assumed it wasn't real. Every time they announced it was getting delayed, I became more and more convinced that it was a fake movie and they were trying to trick me. And between all the Ezra Miller headlines and Warner Brothers turning so much of their catalog into tax write-offs, I figured this movie would be quietly canceled and they'd just pray everyone would forget. They, as in Warner Brothers, not Ezra Miller, although I bet they would also like everyone to forget. So now we have a sense of what the story is actually going to be about, and as was obvious, it's Flashpoint again. The only Flash story that anyone ever wants to adapt. Barry wants to save his mother's life, but doing so puts the world at risk. Except now, Michael Keaton is here. He's back. He's Batman.
I'm Batman.
He looks like he's being held at gunpoint. So yeah, it seems like this is going to be another one of my least favorite kinds of movie, the ones that exist just to remind you of better movies that came out decades ago.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand. Power of the sun.
In the palm of your hand. My back.
This is why I didn't like No Way Home. Can we not just let a movie be about one superhero fighting one guy and engaging with some themes or something? Do they all have to be advertisements for movies we already saw and ones that may never even get made? The short answer is yes, and it's even funnier in this case because this movie is being used purely to set up a rebooted DC movie universe that wants nothing to do with it. Aquaman 2, Shazam 2, and this are just holdovers from when DC was throwing everything at the wall, and now they're throwing it at the wall again. They got Ben Affleck back, they got Michael Shannon back, and I'm sure the money was good. I don't blame them. I guess it's just hard to be interested in this movie when it feels like the movie isn't interested in itself. It feels more like a very thinly veiled excuse to have a bunch of cameos than a story I should care about. Again, it's hard to judge from one trailer, but the marketing in general seems a lot more focused on the character who was in movies 30 years ago than the one the movie is named after. And I know why they're doing that, because doing things like that makes your movie $1 billion and helps to rehabilitate a reputation that's taken a few hits since this series started. A series which, again, is going to be replaced by James Gunn's series immediately afterwards, which will probably render everything that happens in this movie completely irrelevant. I love cinema.
That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love.
Oh, it's fantastic? Well, I'm convinced. And obviously, I'm going to see this, mostly out of morbid curiosity, but also because a small part of me does still want to believe in it. I'd like to think this movie could work. I like this character. I like some of the ideas on display, and even though it's been turned into this weird corporate tool, I think there could be some life in here. I don't want to be cynical about movies like this because they are primarily for fun, but it's hard not to be cynical when they all use the same tricks and aim for mediocrity because that's less challenging and more profitable. There's also the fact that it stars 2 Ezra Millers, which is a terrifying concept in any timeline.
Vicky Vale. I like Batman.